Good evening. I hope you're having a good week so far. The middle of it. It's like I am in the middle of conquering Forza Motorsport 7. We're trying to get our way through the the third championship at the moment. I think I'm gonna continue my way through it. So, without further ado, we just get in there. Clear the special events, so. It's like points wise. I think I have to do 2 more cups. So let's just select ones that I got cars for. I'll go with early prototypes. So
in the 80s,
get a bit of a
racing
nostalgia
rulebook
trip.
was slim, meaning teams were free to innovate and spend millions of dollars on new technologies. The result? Drivers squeezed into low-slung cars and with limited visibility, raced for hours at speeds over 200 miles per hour, just inches from each other.
Man, that's gotta be nerve-wracking, right? Imagine bumper-to-bumper traffic, except you're going way faster. I already get stressed out driving in traffic when I'm going like 20 miles per hour. Just can't imagine doing that at like 10, 15 times the speed, right? All the props to these guys and gals and every other folk out there doing the things that I'd only be able to do a fraction of, right? Oh, hey, this suit's funny. Yeah. Fine with this. Just a million credits left. I should probably save up. For what? More suits, probably. And maybe cars, too. I want to make sure I got credits on hand when they offer me big discounts in cars. Without further ado, let's get back on the track. My legit racing career continues. I was trying to look at like other racing games I could play. I think one I tried out recently was, since it was on Game Pass, it was Asphalt 9. Apparently the 9th game in the mainline series of a long line of the series I didn't even know was still going. Made by Gameloft, which I assume a lot of folks have very, very strong opinions about. But I did try it out. It definitely feels like a more old school type of racer in the vein of, say, Cruisin', Need for Speed, things like that. But it's a thing that kind of drew me off. It's free to play as all get out, right? It doesn't cost anything to download, but the way to kind of gate your progress severely if you don't pour a cent into it, it's kind of nuts. Like, even the career just becomes untenable after a while if you're not willing to just race the same races over and over. And you can imagine, it's got itself a way to kind of limit your plays, the amount of plays you can play at once, because each car has the amount of fuel to it. You know, early on, you're not gonna have that much fuel, so even though level ups refill all your car's gas tanks, you're gonna have to wait a bit if you don't plunk a couple of dollars into it. It's kind of a shame because the gameplay's not bad, right? It's a lot, very, very arcadey, and definitely follows the Burnout philosophy of who cares, it's cool, that's why we let you do it. One of the things you can do is just make your car spin 360 degrees at any point. If you're drifting, double tap the brake, your car will just spin 360, and if you catch anyone in the spin, you do a takedown, or I think. Or the way they call it, it's a knockdown, right? And you got your boost bar that fills by doing stunts, and boost has an interesting mechanic to it too, where it's like you trigger the boost and then it activates, and then if you trigger it at like a boost section that appears as the boost bar goes down, you can then trigger an even stronger boost. And if you just decide to double tap right away, you'll go into like a super boost which not only propels you forward, it also lets you take down any car you ram into. So, all sounds very, very cool, but the free-to-play trappings around it, unfortunately, don't really encourage me to keep playing it, which is unfortunate because, like I said before, it's good, right? I like the music, I like the presentation, I like, you know, the fact that they let you collect all sorts of cool cars, and they're real-life cars too, right? Not like the Burnout style. You get the Dominator Assassin, and things like that. It's proper named cars, make and model, and everything. Although, it reminds me when I first heard of Asphalt, right? When the first few Asphalts came out long ago. I think they were mobile games. And of course, back then, you know, maybe weren't the highest quality, so it was pretty easy to bag on them. Like, aha, mobile game trash. But, well, I guess in a way it still is, but if it weren't for the mechanics around it, right, they might have had a contender. I heard they do have, like, you know, fully realized versions that don't require that won't rely on microtransactions, but fortunately they require other things, either a Netflix account or Apple Arcade subscriptions. So yeah, man, Apple Arcade. I think I watched a long time ago. I watched Giant Bomb do a video on it because when that service first came out, they wanted to take a look at what's in there, and I think they concluded that the selection of games in there that was pretty decent, but you know, as time wore on, it kind of started to show some cracks in there, because the amount of new games that came on the surface into the service didn't seem to be enough to justify the monthly payment you were putting into it, which is a bit of a shame. I just feel like Game Pass kind of hit the sweet spot so far, as far as, you know, gaming suites go. Right? You pay a monthly fee, and you can, as long as you're paying it, you can play whatever games you want they have on offer. Right? Game Pass has the best model for PC, even, and console. Obviously, if you're someone who would rather purchase a game or a physical version, then yeah, then Game Pass probably ain't for you, and it's fine. It's cool, but for anyone who might want to, you know, dip their toes in, get yourselves a whole wide suite of games before, you know, deciding to purchase one for real, Game Pass kind of has it the best. And incidentally, Asphalt 9 being on Game Pass was the biggest reason why I tried it out. That said, I'm assuming that you don't need Game Pass necessarily to play Asphalt 9. It's just that it was on the app, so yeah, it's racing. I picked it up. Speaking of racing games, I think Humble Choice finally went through for this month for me. And I saw one of the games they had on there was that Hot Wheels Unleashed game. I remember seeing some videos on it, and it seemed like a surprisingly good racing game. You know, captures the feel of what you might think Hot Wheels racing. A kid might imagine what Hot Wheels racing would be like, right? If you saw me play the Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels DLC, it's sort of like that, except, you know, maybe on a smaller scale, right? Obviously not racing life-size Hot Wheels cars. It's more like you're controlling miniaturized cars to scale in environments that are also to scale. Does seem some frustration in the way, like how the physics work. Like, you know, tracks only work as long as you stay on the track. As at the point you fall off, or you get off track, that's when things start going downhill. But I have to put that on the list of racing games that I'll play eventually, along with some others. Yeah. For now, I'm just gonna keep that in mind, right? Man. I think I was speaking with my friends like this past weekend, because I think my brother also mentioned the Hot Wheels game, because he also saw it was like humble choice and sort of interested. We got into a big talk about the whole, like, you know, the monthly game service that Humble Choice does, and my brothers kind of have taken the stance of yeah, well, we'll suspend the subscription, you know, until we see something that we like, and we'll start paying for it again, which I get it, right? Because, you know, you look over the list, and if you don't see anything that interests you, oh, you might as well not waste your money on that month, right? But at least for me, it always seems to be that I always find at least the one game that will justify the price, right? If you even find one game, it kind of justifies, you know, yeah, sure, I'll be willing to plunk $12 or $15 down for this whole bundle, right? You can think of it like, oh, okay, I'll get one game for $12, and I get a bonus like 5 to 7 extra games along with it. That's worth something. Of course, the side effect of that is that I have a gigantic amount of keys, kind of just sitting in my humble library, as it were. Maybe one of these days I'll do like just a big code giveaway. That'll probably be far in the future, though. Something to keep in mind for way in the future. I think it was like back in the day, when Humble first started doing the numbered bundles, right? This was back when they had like maybe 5 games to a bundle, and they were like proper indie games and stuff. I remember that they would give you the one Steam code that would give you all the games, and I remember I would hold off on redeeming the keys because the Steam policy would be that if you redeemed the bundle key and you had some of the games in the bundle, it wouldn't give you any extra copies. And, you know, back then, I was imagining, boy, this is like some big ripoff. I should be able to get all the games in the bundle, right? It's like, man, you know, I paid money for 5 games. Why would I want to redeem this code and get only 4? And then, so I would hold on to those codes, right? And in the faint hope that maybe they would rescind on their policies and give everyone a copy of the game. And then, you know, some time later, Steam wanted to promote the heck out of their inventory, and so they kind of did a sort of special event on Steam where I think it was like you did things on the Steam store, and they would give you like Steam inventory items, but the accounts had to be, shall we say, authorized, or, you know, kind of flagged as purchaser accounts, as it were. And it turns out Steam codes kind of counted for that, right? And you know, back in the day, Humble Bundle was, oh yeah, you put any money into it, and, you know, you'll get at least the lowest tier out of it, right? Even if you plunk down like $1, we'll give you a lowest tier at least. So turns out Humble Bundle and that Steam promotion is running concurrently. So some people had the idea. It's like, hey, what if we just bought like a ton of Humble Bundle codes for like a penny each? Use that to kind of legitimize tons and tons of Steam accounts. We'll just you know, abuse the Steam event, get a bunch of Steam inventory items. So I think that was like enough to get it noticed by Steam and stuff, and so Humble would mandate, like, I think it was like a minimum $1 donation, which, you know, at the very least makes it a bit more unwieldy to do it. But you might have noticed that Steam doesn't do too much with the inventory anymore, right? It's like, you know, you still get your trading cards and everything, but that's as far as they go usually. The promotions really don't give you like Steam inventory items anymore. There are some games that use the Steam inventory, others have kind of converted away from it. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, Valve could perhaps try to put in some measures to like prevent that sort of abuse, but you know, it's a shame, right? That people always think of these cool things, and then there's always those handful of folks that have to, you know, abuse the rules, use jump through loopholes, kind of make it not fun for everyone else, and yeah, clamp down, maybe dial back on the fun stuff, because some people just can't be trusted to play nice, right? Some people, when they see they can get an advantage, will seek out that advantage. Will go as far as they can with it. Go. Race done. That sweet, sweet victory music. Alright, third of the way through this event. Let's see where we're going next. At some point, should probably go do a single race and just see how many racetracks are featured in Motorsport 7. Yeah, I really probably should have saved my credits, not buy all these racing suits that I'll never use, because oh boy, okay. So the next car's gonna cost 125,000 credits. After a certain point, I think I'm just gonna have to go for the credits rewards. Yeah. But that's my fault. That's what I get for splurging on. Man, I always end up doing this. Like, Suzuka circuit. Yeah, I always end up doing this. Like, when in any sort of game that kind of has character customization, you know, even though I kind of get my outfit finalized, I'll end up buying like many more clothes than I'll ever use, right? You know, in the off chance, because I'm always thinking in the back of my head, oh boy, maybe one of these days I'll, you know, change out my outfit, switch it up. But I realize always that I kind of get too attached to a particular look. Like, it's kind of the one I've kind of codified as, this is how my OC is represented in this game. So I end up, you know, I always, even if I do switch it, I end up switching it back like not too long after. So most of the time, any outfits past the first just end up, you know, taking space in the closet, but keep doing it anyway, because boy howdy, there are a lot of you know, cool and cute items out there. Why would I pass up the opportunity to use them or to collect them, right? You know, off chance that I maybe want to switch it up, even though I never do. It's pretty much like that in Monster Hunter, even though I was mainly gunning for the Mizusune outfit for layered armor. I went and gathered like a bunch of other layered armor pieces as well, which included like, you know, the event and the non-event stuff. But yeah, even though I kind of have a default look for my hunter, I've got like a bunch of extra layered armor pieces anyway, because Never know, right? Never know. Oh boy. Speaking of Monster Hunter, I bought Sunbreak like a long time ago. I thought that would be the kind of thing I would like, you know, jump in and play day one, but I have yet to touch it. I don't know why. Well, okay, maybe I do know why. Probably because I kind of blitzed playing Rise for like 2 weeks, right? Like 2 weeks I would just, after work, I'll just like sit down and just play that for a couple hours. Largely because of, you guessed it, layered armor. Because that only opened after you reach like, it was like kind of past the end of the first story beat. And you had to go into high level, so you had to be a pretty high rank, so you had to play a bit. And I was like, oh man, I wanna dress up my hunter. And so I just marathoned my way to rank 8, got my layered armor, and of course I continued playing after that. Because hey, what's the point of getting a cool outfit if you're not gonna, you know, run out there and kick ass while wearing that cool outfit, right? Or a cute outfit, as it were. I think I got all the way up to, at least for the base game, I got up to Crimson Glow Valstrex. I think that's how you pronounce it. At that point, I decided to, you know, just, alright, I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna rest, maybe wait till Sunbreak, and I'll jump back into it. And here I am 2 months later, still have not started Sunbreak. I think I might be ready soon. You know, fall's upon us. I don't know what that has to do with me wanting to start Sunbreak, but I feel like maybe a new season, new game to play, sort of. It's either that or splurge money for PS5. I've noticed those have been in stock. Yeah, they're not getting sold out like in the nanosecond after they're put on the shelves, which seems encouraging on one hand, but on the other hand, the amount of games that I want to play on the PS5 I could probably count on one hand. There's Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, Returnal, and Horizon Forbidden West. And I gotta admit, at the moment, not much beyond that. Well, maybe Gran Turismo 7, because I've always been interested in Gran Turismo 7. Never played a Gran Turismo game, believe it or not. In fact, I want to say, kind of my first foray into the sort of simcade style of driving game. It's actually the first Forza Horizon. Like, yeah. But I remember like watching a video about that, and I was like, oh wow. It's because I'd heard of Motorsport before that. It was kind of like Gran Turismo's Xbox cousin, car simmy, super simmy, racing on racetracks, and you know, I didn't have much interest in that back in the day. And here comes Horizon, which is a bit more open world, lets you maybe a bit less simmy, a bit more arcadey. It interested me enough that I picked it up and kind of fell in love with the presentation and the cars and the kind of mood of it all. And I've bought every Forza Horizon game since, and since then I've kind of branched out a little bit, right? Started playing a bit more other sort of simcade type of games like Need for Speed, and you know, maybe went back to some other ones. guess my foray into racing games in general, you know, beyond Mario Kart, Crash Team Racing, Kart Racer stuff, was actually Burnout 3. Yeah. I'm not sure why. Well, actually, I can say why Burnout 3 drew me in so much. It's because of the whole, you know, super fast racing, which I thought sounded really fascinating. I think my older brother bought it for me for my birthday because I told him, hey, I think he asked me, hey, what do you want? I'm gonna buy you something. What do you want? And I told him Burnout 3. And I remember him saying like, oh wow, I didn't take you to be the racing games kind of person. And back then, he was right. Yeah. I think apart from that, Burnout's promise of super exciting racing and everyone kind of singing high praises about it drew me in. So, you know, I played it, and well, the rest is history. I turned out to really like Burnout. I did say Forza motivated me to branch out to Need for Speed. When I think about it, I might be mistaken about that. I would say, amusingly enough, Burnout would be the thing that kind of encouraged me to branch out. I think it was partially that, and I think my younger brother, for some event, I think it was like his birthday also, or maybe Christmas. He asked for Need for Speed Underground 2. I think he mainly asked because you know, he kind of got into the Need for Speed Underground series when he borrowed his friend's copy of Need for Speed Underground 1. So, you know, he got that and played it. It was kind of cool, right? So, I think at a certain point, my older brother got a 360, and I think he got Need for Speed Most Wanted, so I played that. And I kind of got drawn in by the police chases and you know, the presentation, the cutscenes, those absolutely hammy but unforgettable cutscenes. I want to say, I actually didn't, past Most Wanted, I actually didn't keep up with the Need for Speed series until, I didn't get back into it until Hot Pursuit 2010. So, yeah, I did not play Carbon or Undercover or any of those sorts of games. I think I was mainly interested in Hot Pursuit 2010 because Criterion, the guys who made Burnout, they were working on that game, so I was like, oh man, if they're behind the helm on this Need for Speed game, this is gonna be good, right? You know, I played it. You saw me play it, and of course, it is very good. Frustrating, you know, towards the end because AI cheats like there's no tomorrow, but overall, very fun. Soothing, maybe? Yeah, when you're not being hounded by the racers and the police, scenic locales. Really just get you in the mood. Anyways, it's like a pretty scattershot history of my dealings with racing games. These days, as you can see, I play a racing game every week, right? Like, and they run the gamut, right? You see the more arcadey stuff like Hot Pursuit 2010, and then on the other end of the spectrum, you get Forza Motorsport. All this to circle back around to Gran Turismo 7. at least with regards to Gran Turismo. I think I had a friend who really liked Gran Turismo. He played it since it was on the PlayStation. He got the games on the PS2. I got the PS3. He got the GT5. I think it was on PS3. I don't think he got Gran Turismo 6 though, because he kind of weaned off the PlayStation consoles after the PS3. Switched mainly to Nintendo consoles, which was the other family of consoles that we picked up. He had them all, right? He had the N64, he went to GameCube, the Wii, the Wii U, and the Switch. And hey, that's cool. I guess apart from Gran Turismo 7, Horizon, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank. The other reason, I wonder if PlayStation is still doing that like sort of shared library promotion where if you have Plus and you log onto a PlayStation 5, they'll give you like a whole suite of games that you can just play. I remember that was like one of their big promotions they were running, like when the PS5 first came out. I was like, yeah, if you sign into a PS5 console and you have PlayStation Plus, we'll give you a bunch of games. We'll just add them straight to your library and you can just play them. Right? This was before they did their Plus collection. That was the kind of their answer to Game Pass. I was always half tempted to just ask my brother, hey, could you just like whenever I visit him, he just, hey, can I sign into
prep for night driving?
Night driving, huh? Well, I guess I should be ready. I shouldn't look at the shop. I'm just gonna pick up another suit that I'm never gonna use. A badge. Maybe light blue tech. It's only 10,000 credits. Anything else I'm gonna ignore. Hey, next time when I visit my older brother, I'm just gonna ask him, hey, you think I could just like sign into the PS5 real quick? They're still doing that promotion, right? 2 years later, they still let people get themselves a library of games to play. I guess the other thing that wouldn't hurt too much about getting a PS5 is that it's actually backwards compatible, so if I do get that, I could probably, set my PS4 aside. Because I think, I want to say, like, almost all of the games, if not all of the games, I can play on the PS5, so, that might be something to consider, in addition to the other games that I'll be able to play. Ooh, and there's that tech demo game that they included too, right? It's like Astrobot's Playroom or something like that. People were like actually surprised that was actually pretty good for being a pack-in game, as it were, for the PS5. Maybe I'll give that a go. That's the most ironic thing is, despite having an Xbox 360 and an Xbox One, I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up an Xbox Series X. And boy, the reason is probably one you've heard from anyone who was reconsidering buying a Series X, is because most of the games I can play on PC, right? Like even nowadays, it's like even more so these days, right? Imagine back then, you could at least say, yeah, well, else are you going to play Forza or Halo? And nowadays, well, yeah, you can also play Forza and Halo on PC. In fact, you might not even need to download the Windows Store or the Xbox app or anything like that. You got Steam, you're good to go. You can play Halo, you can play Forza on Steam. I guess it kind of reflects the change in philosophy for Microsoft too, right? They're not concerned with convincing you to buy their consoles anymore. They're more about no. We want you to buy the games, right? It's either that or buy Game Pass. You don't need an Xbox. Here, just have Game Pass. I feel like if their model's all about, okay, if we can get them to buy Game Pass, good to go, right? Consoles are just for those people who might want to stay within the Xbox family, might not be interested in getting a PlayStation or a Switch. And that's fine. Oh, it's funny too. I think, at least in the forum I hung around, people were absolutely. I remember when there was like something came out that about how the Wii U, the way they sold it, they only needed people to buy one game for it, and they just make a profit off of that. So obviously, if they bought more than one game, they make even more profit. And then people on the phone were like, "Oh man, what a brilliant plan! Oh, Nintendo, absolute masterminds!" And talk about Microsoft and Game Pass are like, aha, boy, why would anyone even want a console? Like, feels. Actually, I'm not sure where I'm going with this. I guess the difference is that even with Nintendo these days, there's still reasons to buy a Nintendo console, right? It's not like you can say play Mario or Zelda or Metroid or Fire Emblem on the PC. I mean, sure, they got the mobile game spin-offs, but they're still their own thing, right? It's not like Mario Odyssey is on phone or Steam or anything like that, right? But still, feels like at least the forum I go to, people seem to underestimate or at least undervalue plans of any company that's not Nintendo. And don't get me wrong, I love Nintendo games. I have a Switch myself. Smash Brothers, fantastic. I played Odyssey, also fantastic. When Nintendo hits, they hit pretty well, right? Not to mention they've had their share of brilliant ideas. Obviously, the Switch is a brilliant idea. Wii U was at least novel. Wii, obviously, paved the way for motion controls, for better or worse, I guess. And they kind of heralded the start of having just online video presentations to kind of just present their stuff directly to the viewers without having to go to a show or anything like that. I remember people absolutely loved it, and you see other companies start taking on after that too. Start having their whole direct to the players sort of presentation. So yeah, Nintendo, a great company. They have some great games. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love Nintendo. I also just happen to love Microsoft. Also love Sony and a lot of other companies too. So there are like very, very few that I would actually hate. That's probably beyond the scope of this stream, anyways, because I don't want to dwell on that too much. All right, I'll just keep buying cars till I can't buy cars anymore. Ah, good, 45,000. I wonder if they're picking them out based on how much money I have. This one's only 45,000 with the discount. We're going to Le Mans. Oh, hey, this is a. I always heard of the 24-hour version. I think this is a track with the 24-hour version of the race. Well, and then people always talk about just endurance to the max. Whenever I do like a long road trip, oh man, what is this? Already trying to cause some trouble before the race? How dare they? But yeah, long road trips already exhaust me. We're only going at like a fraction of the speed. If perhaps not as harrowing of the roads. Sometimes the weather can be pretty harrowing. Feels like anytime I take a long road trip, I always seem to run into some super gnarly rainstorms. But anyways, yeah. Can't imagine driving for a full day, but considering 8 to 10 hour drives already exhaust me. So is it just me, or is it like after a long drive I find myself absolutely like not hungry? Feels like after I drive for a long time, I'm not like in the mood to even snack. Right, at the very most, I would just drink like some soda, some juice, water, whatever, and I just go to bed. Because again, driving for long periods of time, absolutely exhausting affair. I don't know what it is. I think maybe that would expend energy. That would make your body want to refill itself with food, but something about driving just takes the hunger out of me. Of course, it'll make up. The next day I'll be ravenously hungry, but at the moment I'm just like, nope. I just want to sit down and relax. And boy, Le Mans just has really long straightaways, doesn't it? Really lets you go really, really fast. In fact, this is probably a pretty accurate representation of the kind of road trips I take. They're not this fast, of course, but it is a lot of driving on a road. With wooded areas on either side, and of course you gotta be alert, right? You can't relax. You gotta keep the car on the road. You gotta make sure that you're not hitting any other cars on the road, because obviously in real life, it's a lot more problematic, right? You want to be. You want to pay as much attention as you can when you're driving a really long time on the road. So I know, some people who might not even be able to do that much. Really, really valid and probably something that I should be doing if I could. Is just tag team with your passengers, tag team with other people in your car. Just drive in shifts, right? Someone drives for a few hours, then you stop, you switch seats, and then the other person can drive for a bit, and just continue like that, right? Give them a little time to rest if they can. I think my sister told me that one time when I took like a giant road trip down to that from the north to the south. They kind of she and her friends all drove in shifts like that. They would drive for a few hours and then rotate seats, and they did that all the way up and down the country. Lap 2, so we're gonna hit that straight away pretty soon. Okay, this might be there actually. Man. Actually can't remember the last time I took a super long trip. I think it was in November last year when I drove to my brother's place. It was a couple states away. Yeah, that's one of the long trips. We went for... no, we went in December. It was like last December, right? We visited him and my sister-in-law and her relatives. We spent the Christmas together. change, man. I remember when I was super, super young, Christmas would always be visiting grandparents at their farmhouse, and they actually lived pretty close. You know, they're actually, I would say they weren't even an hour away. You know, so pretty quick drive, all things considered. And we did that for the longest time, right? It would just be everyone, right? Our family, other families, cousins, aunts, uncles, we'd all get together, have ourselves Christmas, Thanksgiving there, Easter even, right? But you know, as the years went on, they obviously got older, and I think, you know, eventually, one of the grandparents, they passed away. The other one went to move in, and, you know, that farmhouse, was sold off, and we didn't go there anymore, so, things would eventually change, right? Other people would host, events at their place. We would, for Thanksgiving, we would visit one relative's place. For Christmas, we might visit another relative's place, and we'll say things started even changing, like, beyond that. I don't know, after I'll say my brother got married to who would now be my sister-in-law, and you know, we started spending Christmas with them, right? Because it's like, well, it's because they really didn't have anyone over, right? It's always just, you know, super small Christmas gathering. It would just be you know, their kids and them. I think at some point, I think they like invited my mom for a year, so she went and hung out with them. And, you know, the following year, I went with them, and things changed from there on out, right? Instead of spending time, spending Christmas time with one set of family, we would spend it with another set of family, which, you know, I still get along with the old family, you know, don't get me wrong, but the other folks, I want to spend some time with them too, because I can see my old family, right? I visit them. I can visit them a lot more often because they're closer by. My brother, sister-in-law, they're a bit further away, so I can't see them as much, right? I have to take some time off to actually go see them. So I want to at least try to spend one holiday with them. Well, in any case, now that's one championship under the belt. I think we got one more to go, and then we'll all earn ourselves a cup.
Trip to the podium. Fantastic work.
Thank you, disembodied voice. Give me more money. Alright, so I only need one more championship, and that will let me move on to the Masters, or sorry, the Domination Championship. So let's see what we got here. I got one car for NASCAR, 4 for the Birth of the Grand Prix, 1 for Nostalgic Racers, and 1 for Loop Rally. They're all 2,000 points, so it doesn't matter which one I pick.
From its outlaw beginnings, NASCAR has become
Maybe
a
I'll do this one.
dominant force in the racing world. Huge sponsorship deals and celebrity drivers have only enhanced the aggressive, competitive nature of the sport, attracting motorsport's biggest crowds every weekend.
And I think my biggest exposure to NASCAR was just those long Saturdays where, you know, you have nothing else to do, so you just plop down and watch TV. Okay, what do I want to go watch? And it's like on Saturdays, all the primetime channels usually just have things like sports and other. If it's not sports, it's like nature reserve or build it yourself, do-it-yourself shows or cooking shows or things like that. NASCAR would be part of it, and I wouldn't say I'd sit down and watch it, but I'd maybe catch a glimpse here and there. Yeah, that's about as close as I've gotten to NASCAR, really. Which is to say, probably not very much. I was definitely more of a gamer, right? Once the Saturday morning cartoons were done, I would usually just go play video games. It was either that or study. Oh man, I just realized this track is 11 laps, but that said, the laps are pretty quick. So if there's, yeah, looks like the average lap's about 40, that means 440 seconds, which means I'm only going to be racing around this oval for 7 minutes at most. Technically, it'll be more like, actually no, it'll be 7 minutes, 20 seconds, if I keep up the current pace. Yeah, this is the joke, isn't it? Ahaha, NASCAR drivers, they only know how to turn left. But oh man. Isn't it? I thought I read somewhere. Maybe it's like I heard someone say it, that they actually do build NASCAR vehicles to, account for that, for the fact that 90% of the time the tracks only require you to turn left. I think it's like the way that allows them to make certain accommodations within like the steering wheel and the cockpit and things like that that you wouldn't be able to do if you had to turn right as well. Always amuses me, apart from racing, there's some interesting directions NASCAR took. Like, I remember way back in the day, I think it was like during a Saturday morning cartoons era, there was they tried to make a Saturday morning animated series focused on NASCAR. But of course, it wasn't modern NASCAR because trying to market to kids, you gotta make it exciting, so this were like futuristic-esque NASCAR, and the cars had boosts. They had all sorts of tools and gadgets that they could use. Since it was a kid's show, obviously they couldn't use actual weapons. There's all sorts of other things like jump jets and I want to say like EMPs and freeze rays or something like that. I never personally got into the series. I always thought it was kind of funny to hear about NASCAR animated series. I forget what the cast of characters were. Obviously, probably like an original generation of characters, probably all teenage age, but I don't remember much beyond that. And I remember like noticing there's like a PlayStation game like out in the stores every now and then. There's a game called NASCAR Rumble. I think was like their kart racing take on NASCAR. I noticed they had like NASCAR cars as the various vehicles you could play as, and like any good kart racer, you got power-ups. And personally, never bought it or paid much attention to it beyond reading the back of the case. I'd usually put it down, mostly because back when I was a kid, I had to rely on my parents to get me games, and they were usually not get me games very often, so I had to be very discerning of what games I would ask them to get for me. Wow, look at me. I'm lapping everyone. Haha, look at me. So good, I'm overtaking all of you. I wonder if I can overtake every racer before I finish. I just might be able to do it. I still got 2.5 laps. Only 14 racers to pull ahead of. Y'all suck. Wow, Rick and Morty livery. Not surprised. Well, that's like an actual thing, right? It's like some NASCAR vehicle in real life that has a Rick and Morty sponsored vinyl on it. Wouldn't put it past him. Rick and Morty seems to be at least fairly popular, as far as I can tell. I would admit, I'm not watching many shows in general as of late. Like, not even anime. I'm not sure why I fell off. I think it's mostly because, asking me to focus on a particular video for even 20 minutes seems to be a bit much of an ask these days. I guess that's just the end result of, people wired to just like multitask or maybe faintly focus on a thing, right? Don't put your full attention on a video. I want to say even 5-ish years ago, I was able to sit down and watch a series, right? I remember watching through the entirety of anime. Released that year, like Gabriel Dropout, things like that. Nowadays, it's taken me a lot more effort to muster up to even watch like one episode of, say, Princess Connect. Right? I remember trying to sit down and try to get through a series, and I think I watched like the first 5-6 episodes of Princess Connect, and then I just dropped off. I really should get back and finish that series, especially since they have the season 2. I think that might be the other part of the problem, right? Once you start dropping off, it starts piling up, right? The amount of anime you want to watch, gets bigger and bigger, and you feel less encouraged to take it on because it's like it's a huge backlog. How will I ever get through it? When the best way to get through it is to just start, or maybe pick out some series that you go, oh, I probably wasn't into it as much as I thought, and just discard it wholesale, but I guess that's not a step I have reached quite yet. I feel like there are a bunch of other anime series that I really, 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 really want to check out, but for the most part, I'm only checking them out if I'm, say, visiting my cousin, and I bring it up. It's like, hey, you want to check this out? And it just puts it up on the TV, and we watch a few of it. Because the one series in particular, everyone has been singing high praises about, and one I want to see because I did watch the first 2 episodes and I thought they were fantastic. Spy Family. Yeah, it's just funny because I think my sister actually recommended that I check out the manga because she read the manga, Spy Family manga. She liked it, so I mean, hey, you really should read this. I think it'll be right up your alley. And after watching the anime, she was probably right about that. Gotta admit, it's not very often that my sisters and my anime tastes overlap, but when they do, it's kind of fun being able to just trade back and forth about things that happened, right? I think the last series that happened to we were both into was like one called Monthly Girls Nozuki-kun. If you haven't heard of it before, Nozuki-kun is this series. It's mostly a comedic series. So this girl, Chiyo Sakura, really looks up to one of the guys in her class, and just one day just goes, "Hey, you want to spend time with me?" The guy goes, "Sure. Why don't we go to my place?" You know, the usual sort of anime freak out happens, and then I think at that point she figures out, you know, the other guy, Nozuki-kun, he's actually a manga artist. He draws manga, and she kind of gets drawn into the world of manga from there on out. Oh boy, I'm really messing up this turn. You know, the series itself kind of takes digs at the shoujo manga genre and kind of some parts of the industry around it. So I usually get gags like you know, they'll take certain conventions and kind of skewer them, right? Like one particular convention they make fun of is, you know, how usually romantic gesture of, oh, it's raining. Hey, how's about we share an umbrella, right? You know, they get super close together, and Nozuki-kun would parody that by the umbrella not being big enough, and one of them inevitably gets drenched anyway because they can't both be under the umbrella. You know, they start thinking of more ridiculous ways to try to dodge the rain. One of them including Sakura getting like inside Nozuki's blazer, and they both just like run down the street. I think that got an anime series as well. Sadly, just one season. But, very, very fun season. And the manga, also very fun. I think the best part is that I think my sister and I both like into the series for different reasons, right? I enjoy the series because it's a parody and it's funny and it makes me laugh. And my sister seems to enjoy shipping the characters, right? There's some very obvious pairings in there, right? You got the main character, you got Sakura, Nazuki, and several of the side characters who seem like people are just screaming, "Hey, just start dating already!" But even so, we have fun talking about the chapters and the various things about it. I think when I went to a con, I also saw like a phone charm that was basically like the mascot from the Nozuki-kun series as it were, and I bought it for her, and she liked it. So. I always, after that, I usually try to you know, spot the series that might have a spot of romance to them, and maybe pitch it to my sister. Most of the time, she enjoys them. Like, I think the latest one, I recommended to her, Kaguya-sama, Love is War, which the premise is all about the romance, right? You got the two main characters who like each other, but are so prideful that they would not dare admit it first. And so most of the series has the two trying to figure out if the other is really into them, or, you know, trying to get them to confess first. It's again, big pride issue. You know, as the series went on, they would start introducing more side characters in their stories, and you know, there's really funny dynamics. Like, my sister really enjoyed that one. I don't know if she actually went out and bought the manga series for it. I'm surprised she did. But she greatly enjoyed the animes, like so much. Like, was it that one anime, that one ending? There's the pink-haired girl like did that really funky song and that funky dance. My sister rewound that section multiple times just to listen to that song, because like completely came out of nowhere, right? Like most of the other times, you got your usual artsy, abstract ending with a really soothing song, and here comes this funky beat with a quirky character just dancing. Just dancing. Anyways, circling around back to Spy Family. Boy, that series is it's sequel mix, hilarious and touching and kind of great. But it's that fuzzy center in everyone. I guess it helps that it's like also perhaps a bit more fantastical, right? It's not taking place in sort of real world locations, although the places are and people are definitely inspired by real world locations. That's probably distance just enough that you can kind of not worry about it too much, but yeah. It's all the little touches that they put in there, right? It's the way Anya just like reacts when someone has their inner monologue. Nobody would hear it, but Anya, she has got that mind reading ability, so you're just like freak out whenever someone thinks of something maybe a bit more risque, a bit more dangerous, as it were. And so on top of them, feels like they might actually bond. And of course, if they also manage to translate all the famous scenes, right? Like the famous face Anya makes, that heh face. They put it in the anime. Things like that. One of those series I should probably swing back around and at least finish that, because I'm in the middle. I can at least give that an ending. But yeah. These days, if I like logging in the Crunchyroll, it's just to go, oh hey, maybe I'll throw this series into my queue, my watch list. One of these days I'm gonna get around to it, right? I think some other series I wanna swing back around because I watched the preceding seasons and I absolutely adored them. Anon Buri and Is the Order a Rabbit, right? Both of them had a case of, they came out with like 2 seasons worth of anime. They were great. And then absolutely nothing for a long time. Sure, you got your movies, you got some promotional material here and there, some OVAs, as it were. And then like 5 years later, oh hey, we're gonna give you a 3rd season of both of these series. And I thought maybe that would be the moment I would jump back in and watch it, because I absolutely adored the first 2 series of Is the Order a Rabbit and Anon Buri, but I have yet to get around to watching them. This is especially weird for Anon Buri, because I remember absolutely adoring that series, right? It just hit all the right spots for me. It was like super relaxing, super laid back. Pretty unique premise. Think about it, right? Most of the a series that focuses on a bunch of kids kind of living their life in the countryside. It's not something you see too often. Also helps that it was actually managed to be pretty funny in parts too. Yeah. Steal or a Rabbit, I think, kind of hits those spots too. I managed to have some genuinely funny moments, in addition to your gaggle cutesy moments, because the kind of manga, because the manga came from. Like, I remember being so charmed by the series that I went out and bought the Anon Buri manga. Like, I've been collecting volumes of that. And I remember when they said that they would translate the Is the Order a Rabbit manga and put it on an app. I think I actually went and accessed the app to read the Is the Order a Rabbit manga. But part of me wishes they would do a physical release, though I can imagine, perhaps understand why they wouldn't do it. It's not the kind of series that would appeal to everyone. I would say at least among the people I hang around with, there's only like one other person who's like totally who also watches the super relaxing, laid-back series that I enjoy. Everyone else in my family, when they get together, they usually put on like an action series more often than not, right? Or at least a series that has action in it. Spy Family, I was able to kind of convince my one cousin to watch it because it does have your spy moments in there. But most of the time they're watching things like Black Clover and other action series of the sort. Which I'll sit down, I'll enjoy them, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch every episode in the series, especially since I imagine some of them have like hundreds of episodes out there now. I guess when I watch anime, I just want to kind of sit back, be relaxed, and be amused. Other people might be in it for big, over-the-top action, and that's perfectly cool. But if I had to pick, I would definitely pick the kick back and relax kind of deal. Speaking of kick back or relax, I remember when Laid Back Camp was kind of a big deal. I feel like that's like the one super laid back series that kind of broke out of the usual talking circles. I guess kind of helps that camping is not something that can be enjoyed when you're in school, right? Because imagine most anime of this sort that are laid back and relaxed usually focus on school clubs. While Laid Back Camp also focus on school clubs, camping isn't exclusively a school club thing. It's like the kind of thing you can just do. I think that's part of it, what helps too, right? For instance, you this kind of idealized version of camping, where you're out with a bunch of your friends doing fun things and maybe kicking back and relaxing and just enjoying beautiful nature scenery. I wonder if Laid Back Camp probably inspired a couple folks to maybe take up camping or at least try it out. I wonder how many of them perhaps got splashed in the face with reality. Maybe camping isn't exactly all fun and games, right? I think that's another series I have to go back and finish. Watch like the first few episodes, and I dropped off. Alright, I'm about to wrap up this race here. Let's go. 300 SP in the bag. The Brickyard Speedway. That sounds like a good name for a Lego track, actually. Alright, halfway there. Halfway through the championship. We're gonna see 3 more NASCAR stadiums. Oh, man. I think when I was really young, my older brother used to have a NASCAR board game. It's a fascinating game. Where they would have like 6 colored cars on the track, and the way it worked is that each player would be given a hand of cards that would kind of tell you how many spaces you could move each colored car. And so I guess part of the strategy came down to picking which cars to kind of benefit which benefit your hand the most. And I remember at least sort of enjoying it. So didn't think much of it until many years later. I was at a convention with my older brother and some of his friends, and they brought a game that was called Downforce, which kind of had very similar mechanics, right? You had your colored cars, you had your cards with the numbers on them that told you how many spaces each car could move, and I was like, whoa, hold on. Isn't this This is like that NASCAR game I played long ago. Like my brother also said, yeah, it was like that, wasn't it? Kind of funny how they brought that back, except they removed the NASCAR branding, and they had more than one racetrack, right? They have more than the Daytona Speedway that the old board game had. That, and they also had like a power card that they called it. Each player had their special ability. I think it was like a once per game or once every few turns activation that was unique to them. They could use that to perhaps manipulate the board a bit. But yeah, that's a fun game. Tabletop games. Let's say my first serious foray into at least the one that kind of dropped me into the rabbit hole, as it were. Even past it after a kid. As a kid, most of the time I just played like the Daytona, Monopoly, whatever other board games. Or hiding in my brother's room, and usually weren't too much, but I want to say the first time I kind of got my own board game. It's not a board game, actually. It was more of a tabletop game. It was a card game. It was Munchkin, because I think back when I would spend holidays at my grandma's place, my cousins would bring that along. And after we had our presents, we had our family meal, we would usually retreat to the upstairs bedroom. We would break out Munchkin and we just play several games of that. And yeah, I'll say that's the one I like seriously got into. I bought like a bunch of expansions, bought a lot of the mini packs, got as many promo cards as I could. I'm gonna say these days, perhaps don't play Munchkin all that much. I want to say because when it comes down to it, much of the fun of Munchkin was kind of just reading all the parodies they did, all the puns they had. Right? The game itself was serviceable, mechanics were fine, but I think once you figured everything out, the game really just boiled down to, okay, who's at level 9? Oh no, are they gonna hit level 10? Oh, I gotta throw as many things as we can at them to make sure that they don't win this monster fight and win the game. And it would work around the circle like that until everyone eventually runs out of ways to stop the final player from killing that monster and getting the last level needed to win the game, or divine intervention, because that just lets you win the game if you fulfill the right conditions. Right, if you're a cleric, you just go up a level. And the card even says, yeah, you can win the game with this card. And that actually happened. I think we were all pretty amused by it. But yeah, I think after you kind of seen all the cards and had your fun laughing at them, it's like, yeah, you get your fill of Munchkin, you know how the end game plays out. Kind of set it aside, right? Set aside other games that might be more your thing. I think another early tabletop game that I kind of dug was one called Flux. True to the name, that's kind of the state the game was in, because the goal of the game was always changing. In fact, even at the beginning of the game, there was really no set goal, right? That was actually its own like card type. And the way it works is that goals you had other card types like, say, keepers, actions, and rules, which would kind of right. You had the keepers, which were like permanents, sort of like creatures in other card games, allies, objects that you have in front of you. Actions, they work like, you know, event cards, instants, sorceries, things like that. And rules, they would kind of change what the things the players would be able to do, right? Like some of them might let you play a certain number of cards per turn. Some of them might have you draw a certain number of cards per turn. Others might enforce a hand limit of some sort. And there were others that did some more unique things, like made your first play random, or maybe gave you a draw bonus if you had no cards in your hand, or something like that. And finally, the goal cards. It's like at any point, if you met the goal, stayed on the goal cards, you won the game. And for the most part, the goals will usually require you to have the certain sets of keepers, right? It's like if you have this keeper and this keeper, you win the game. There might be some others which have more unique requirements, like having a certain number of keepers or a certain number of cards in your hand. But those are like few and far between. Now, part of the fun of that game was, you know, seeing all the references too, because boy howdy, I think Flux. This is the same with Munchie. They got a bunch of spin-offs based on different properties, right? Eventually, Munchkin had things like Marvel, and that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But Flux, oh my god, so many Flux sets, right? Yeah, I think they had Star Trek, Doctor Who, lots of other properties as well. It's kind of crazy. I guess the other tabletop game, it was a big hit around the college days. Cards Against Humanity. Hey, you remember that? That was a card where you had the prompts and the blanks. I think they were the white cards. Was it the black cards? No, they were pretty sure they were. Anyway, in any case, one set of cards had like a sentence and some blanks, and then you had a hand of cards that had phrases or words that you would fill the blanks in with. And Cards Against Humanity was like kind of like that R18 rated sort of game, so it had a bunch of things in there that like crossed the line. And so to draw that game obviously was to kind of outdo your friends and just have the best, top rated, right? The one that the group likes the most. And of course, the nature of the game kind of encouraged you to just cross the line as far as you could. Just think of the worst thing you could think of for that sentence. And the cards kind of facilitated it too, but I think part of the fun of that was, just encountering those sorts of cards for the first time. So I remember kind of buying a lot of the Cards Against Humanity sets back when it was like, super duper popular. I got the big expansions. I got the little packs. I even did their promotional stunts they had where you pay some money in and they give you a series of things along with some Cards Against Humanity cards, which thankfully they would later package in as a kind of a retail set if you didn't want to get into their little promotional stunts. Yeah, I think we kind of dropped off of that too because there's only so much fun you could wring out of crossing the line. And once you know what the phrases are, and you kind of figure out what your friends group likes. It's like, yeah, it's kind of predictable. I think that's how most board games go, right? Most of the fun comes when the first two plays, where you haven't figured out the meta, as it were. You haven't figured out the best combinations, the best strategies, the best things to go for. When you're actually trying to, I guess everyone's on equal footing. But after a point, people start devising their strategy. You start knowing how your friends will play, and play sessions with that sort of board game start looking a lot more homogenous, and that's at that point, it's time to maybe set it aside for a bit, or maybe find another board game to pick up. Or maybe when an expansion comes out for that board game, you pick it up and check it out. Oh man, there was a board game my sister brought along to when we would get together with cousins and stuff. It's called Photosynthesis. Very kind of cool game with where you're trying to grow trees, trying to get them in the sunlight so that they grow, and you get points based on the trees you grow, and if you're able to get them to the tallest, kind of get them to the highest size, and then subsequently trade those trees in for points. My sister bought the expansion for that. It seemed like an interesting expansion where you could also say kind of pick a companion to play along with you that would give you unique abilities. My sister bought the photosynthesis expansion, but sadly we have not played any photosynthesis games since. Kind of want to try out photosynthesis with the animals expansion. I guess the only way to do that now would be to either maybe ask my sister if I can borrow the game and bring it along next time, or maybe wait till a video game version comes out. I imagine someone will be able to make a decent video game adaptation of photosynthesis. Especially with the Animal Companions expansion, would probably put enough meat on it. Then again, they've made digital versions of board games that perhaps not as complex. Things like Carcassonne, which on the surface pretty straightforward. You get tiles, lay them down, try to get them resemble a land of sorts, try to claim certain features of the map like roads and cities and castles and what have you. Yeah, I remember playing the digital version of Carcassonne on sale on 360, and I had fun with that. I think one of the Humble bundles I picked up also had the complete Carcassonne collection, so I also have that digitally. Maybe I'll break that out for stream in the future. Yes, that's the thing about me, perhaps dialing back. I remember wanting to try to do tabletop game Saturdays, but I think that might not be sustainable for me, at least, because at the very least when I look through my library and kind of separate out those sort of tabletop-esque board game, card game kind of things, it's not as big as I thought it would be. So if I did it every week, I would burn through that list a lot more quickly than I desired. So which is why I probably just intersperse in a board game here and there. Won't make it my entire thing. On top of that, it's me truly trying to learn things. So first playthrough, obviously gonna fumble around like I did with Spirit Island, where I pretty much bombed out every game, not figure out for the life of me how to completely drive away the invaders. I think the funniest thing about that is once I finished the stream, I went back the next day. I decided to turn on some of the assists. Right, you saw some of the assists on there. Things like the invaders don't get an initial exploration phase, or you get a free growth phase. on your first turn. I turned those on, and even then, I was only barely able to drive away the invaders. Like, they had me at the ropes, right? If they had another turn or two, I would have lost again. So I think I might have mentioned this on the stream, but I did read up on it. I tried to read up a little bit on it. Yeah, there were some people who said, yeah, a common mistake that new players do is try not to accumulate any blight on the island. But it's kind of one of the things you learn as you play. Is like, yeah, you can accept a blight or two, right? I guess the worst part would be trying not to let too much blight accumulate in one spot, kind of letting it cascade, which is where it gets real hairy. And trying to keep it away from where presence markers are located. Like they also said, solo games tend to be a bit more difficult, which I definitely noticed with certain spirits, right? Like the one I played that was super defensive, but didn't have quite much in the way of offensive options. So most I could do is just stave off their actions, and I couldn't really push my way towards a victory condition. Maybe even though like having two spirits would increase the size of the board greatly, would probably help cover my bases more, right? And it might be helpful from another standpoint, right? More spaces means more invaders, which means more potential for more buildings, which means you could perhaps drive up that fear a bit more quickly. Of course, the other side of that is that obviously you have more invaders to deal with, but again, they did say as long you're okay with getting the blight here and there. Obviously, you don't want that to grow out of control. I think that's kind of what Spirit Island kind of boils down to, right? It's a DPS race of sorts, right? You're trying to DPS the invaders enough before they grow out of control and build up enough DPS to destroy your island. Still think it's a pretty neat premise. I will definitely keep playing at it and trying to figure out the best way, the most optimal strategy. Maybe not the most optimal, but at least the way what I should be focusing on, right? What should I focus on? How do I prevent the invaders from spiraling out of control? I kind of want to visit Sentinels of the Multiverse as well, because it definitely has a pretty fun premise of superhero teaming up to fight the villain. And I've seen some mods out there too, right? Ones that let you put in custom decks with other heroes from, like, say, other series. Steam Workshop doesn't have them, but I'm sure if I scoured the internet, I could probably find mods that would let me put in custom characters, villains, areas, what have you. On the subject of comic-based tabletop games, another one I've been sort of looking at, because I've seen people, I've seen mixed opinions, but the people who enjoy it seem to really enjoy it. Marvel Champions. It's kind of in that category of what people call a living card game, where they have all the trappings of a trading card game. You got a deck that has to be a certain size, cards of various categories, maybe characters too. But instead of having randomized ways of acquiring cards, all the ways you acquire cards are kind of like fixed. So, like, say from Marvel Champions, You got the big box sets that get you a few heroes and a couple villains and what have you. And you'll always have the same cards, right? It's not like one base set box is going to have different cards from another base set box. Similarly, there's like a Captain America extra deck, and it doesn't matter which one you buy. All the cards will always be the same. It's not like a Captain America booster pack where you only have a chance of getting certain cards. No, you always get the same cards, the same amount. But much like any living card game of that sort, there's a lot of product out for it, and it tends to be pretty pricey. But that's probably something I might look at. I'm kind of hoping they'll maybe do a video game adaptation of Marvel Champions. So I imagine they might be hesitant to do so. Of course, that's Marvel, under the ever-watchful eye of Disney. So fortunately, we won't be able to have some indie company just roll in. Hey, can we do a video game adaptation of Marvel Champions? I imagine that would take a bit more work, if assuming Disney is willing to let people make a video game adaptation of Marvel Champions at all. All right, another championship done.
Stand out from the pack. Congratulations on another podium finish.
Got ourselves halfway through the career mode. Let's get ourselves the credits. I think I haven't. Did I level up at this one? Yeah, I do. All right, and Audi. It's free, so I'm gonna pick it up.
The Evolution Championship trophy joins your other conquests.
Yeah.
You're at the halfway point in the pursuit for the Forza Drivers' Cup. The Domination Championship is now open for you. Keep going.
Oh, I sure will, disembodied voice. Got myself a 1997 BMW. And Evolution Championship Racing.
You'll find the Domination Championship is a diverse menu of speed and vehicle.
Oh, I didn't realize he was just stopped talking. Probably didn't have anything important to say. I like how they keep upping the point rewards. It's not even. It feels largely cosmetic, right? Because it's not like points carry over between championships, and for the most part, really only means that you're gonna have to play more, right? So I haven't played anything beyond, so like, I had to, just clear 2, start 2 in the special events, and here clear 3 and 2 of the special events, and here I cleared 3 and all the special events, and now according to the point distro, I would either clear 5 of these, or if I did these events, I would only have to clear 4 championships, which this feel kind of arbitrary, right? Probably don't need to say, 18,000 SP. They could probably chop off a few zeros and still be the same. This number is going up for the sake of numbers going up, and these numbers don't even do anything. It's just a measure of how far you are. They could very easily have said clear 5 championships unless you do the special series, and it will give you, like, say, a pass on a free championship win. In any case, let's do these small ones first. Do Ken Block Ford RS200 one. Good one-on-one race. I think I mentioned this already, but
well, that was the Group B era of rallying.
Let's listen to
so
Ken
that's
Block.
when I really started watching and paying much more attention to rally. Was mid to late '80s, and that's when Ford had the RS200, which was
sorry if you heard that.
My
cup banging against the microphone arm.
Eventually got stopped because the cars became too fast to race. People were starting to die, so they moved on to a slower
Jeez.
And the RS200 is my all-time favorite car of any car on the planet.
It's kind of a grim quote, but all right. Izzy pop. Alright, so it's actually, I believe, 2 laps. Just one other fella. Something about the dual race that just really ratchets up the tension. Because, it's like when they get it right. 2 cars kind of vying for first positions, you know, dance around the road, trying to move around each other while keeping their eye up ahead, make sure they move forward, not into a wall like I did right there. Get the overtakes, get the slowdowns, you get the blocks. When they do it right, dual races are pretty exciting. Thing I always appreciate, attention to detail. I think one of these days I'll probably have to look up an article or maybe check out some screenshots or something to see how accurate these locations are to their real life counterparts. Maybe fun to see if maybe they had to take any artistic liberties to accommodate for being a video game. Imagine for the most part they tried to be as accurate as they could. Make the roads to scale at least, and have buildings represent the real life buildings and locales and things like that. Make it all feel like, you know, if you're familiar with the location, make it feel like they did the location right. They gave you an accurate portrayal of the place that you're racing through. Part of me also has fun. They make tracks or race locations that are completely fictional, but are very much inspired by real-world locations. I'm gonna say Burnout was kind of that flashpoint for me. Right? You had a track that was very clearly inspired by Florida, and another track that was, amusingly enough, I think the one that drew me was inspired by, say, Pittsburgh? I'll say Pittsburgh. Other tracks, obviously inspired by other locations worldwide, in Asia and Europe. It's just Florida and Pittsburgh that stuck out to me. Maybe I should perhaps go back to my parents' place, see if I can bring out the 360 again, or no, actually I don't have to do that. I just need a copy of Burnout Revenge, really. I could do that, maybe I'll put it in and play through Burnout Revenge. It's kind of a retro game. definitely qualifies as retro now. A sign of the times, you know, when you know you're super old, those things you remember being into. Someone tells you, oh yeah, man, I remember that. That was first came out 20, 30 years ago, right? Wait, it's like, hold on, wait, no, it couldn't have been on, right? 1990, that was only just like a decade ago, right? Right, it kind of settles in. It's like, oh wow, it was much longer than that, right? Like, I remember when Lucky Star, right, or Haruhi and Lucky Star. Anime super craze. People in the anime circles talked all about them. Subsets of people just absolutely loved it. That came out mid-aughts, which is almost 20 years ago. Yeah, just think about that. I mean, heck, there are even certain games I think about now. It's like, oh my goodness, they've been around for a decade, right? Something like, say, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Oh my goodness. It's almost a decade old now. I remember when I first got that on the Xbox 360. And I played it, and I loved it. And let's say several years later, played it on the PC, and loved it all over again. And here I am, many years later. Still love it. Boy. Came out a long time ago. I'm a little bummed that the game that followed that, or the one that Sumo Digital made after that, was Team Sonic Racing. Don't get me wrong, it was cool. You know, the focus on Sonic characters, I grew to accept. Did let them probe the Sonic cast a bit more. Got characters like Blaze and Silver, which might not have appeared in a racing game otherwise.
They're fun, they're affordable, they're accessible, they're attainable. They're not going
I think,
beyond legal limits.
The biggest bummer about that,
and they're practical, so you can drive one every day.
Team Sonic Racing, they didn't have any post-launch support, right? They just
every time you drive it.
They just released the game, and that was it. Kind of a shame, because the preceding game, All-Stars Racing Transformed, they had the bonus track, and they had a bunch of, you know, several DLC characters, and they also had like a bunch of post-launch content, right? Especially on the PC, where they added a ton more characters. Not a ton, but they added several more characters, right? You got Football Manager, you got the other guy from the strategy game, I think, and you know, Alex Kidd, which admittedly was on consoles, and that was like a full unlock, but still, they Stars Racing Transformed had a pretty strong tail end there. For Team Sonic Racing to just like come out and that was it, was a bit of a bummer, right? It's like the way it was set up even looked like they could accommodate some DLC at least, right? I think people were hoping for more teams, more tracks, and nothing of the sort came out. It's a shame. Especially since I think we'll say another game that came out pretty close to Team Sonic Racing, I believe. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel, which was a very loving remake of Crash Team Racing. I think the best part, the thing that really made Nitro Fuel stand out to me, you know, apart from being a fantastic racing game in its own right, the amount of extra post-launch support, just extra and post-launch support they had, right? Like right out the gate. It wasn't just, they didn't just remake Crash Team Racing. Right? They actually added like a bunch of other tracks from the successor to Crash Team Racing, Crash Nitro Kart. They added all the tracks from Nitro Kart into Team Racing. And I'm gonna say even past that, every month they would, or 8 months, they would come out with like a new track, new characters, new cosmetics for you to pick up, right? You could get carts, tires, liveries, vinyls, patterns, whatever they call it in that game. became a lot more than just, just a remake of Crash Team Racing. It was more like a celebration of Crash in general, right? Just all sorts of Crash elements just from every corner. Right? Yeah, the characters coming in from their post Naughty Dog era. You had carts and characters and things like that. Even kind of fun. Maybe they didn't hit all right. They tried their hand at the baby characters like Mario Kart did, but I don't think people enjoyed those baby characters, right? But they were even willing to like tap into some weirder types of characters, right? Like I want to say, they eventually let you unlock like a King Chicken character in game, and I think one of the very last post-launch characters they released was Iron Checkpoint Crate. Because mostly because people memed the heck out of it. Like, so they said, okay, we'll just throw in a crate that you can just drive as here. They even added things like a new separate racing mode and Grand Prix, and they put some effort into this post-launch content too, right? Like every month they would have a Grand Prix that you could like race through and try to get some special things, and they put some they did some work, right? They changed up the title screen for certain ones. Like they had a special one for Christmas, a special one for Halloween, and when they added in Spyro characters in the Spyro track, they had a special Spyro version of the title screen. And
I mean, they do heroic things every day.
When I'm all the way to the point where they had like even a short video with a couple of race commentators to detailing over what the update had, right? The track, the characters, and everything else. And this might be one of my favorite games, just because the post-launch support was so substantial and just made the game so much better, right? Like even if you don't get like all the special Grand Prix stuff that they had when the game was released, you're still getting all the post-launch updates. If you were to buy the Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel today, you're still getting a substantial amount of stuff. A lot of tracks, a lot of characters, a lot of carts. It's a very, very value-packed game, right? I would say only Mario Kart 8 would manage to beat it in like sheer terms of say quantity to dollars paid for it. Yeah. Like I remember when Mario Kart 8 DLC was first announced, it felt like a breath of fresh air, because like the way it worked. Right? They would give you 2 whole new cups, or actually it was yeah, I believe it was 2. It was like 4 new tracks, 4 retro tracks, 8 new tracks, several characters, a couple of carts, and I think one of the bigger draws for it was like some of them were crossovers, right? So the first pack had a Link, had the Zelda track, had some Zelda items to go with it, Zelda cart parts, and it's all reasonably priced. I want to say it was, for those 8 tracks and characters, you were paying like maybe, I want to say $6 to $8 for it. Which, when you think about it, it's kind of nuts, right? Especially when I'm gonna say other games, right? They might charge you more for a single track, but Mario Kart 8 was willing to just give you all that just for a very, very affordable price. And of course, when they rolled the DLC in, just for deluxe, made it even better, right? Of course, maybe cold comfort to anyone who might have supported Mario Kart 8 when it was on the Wii U and bought the DLC. For anyone who picked up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, pretty good value. And then they come out with the Booster Course Pass, which is just a whole host of cups, right? I think it was 12 of them. I think they advertised 48 courses. Yeah, 48 tracks. Of course, most of them are like high-res versions of their Mario Kart Tour offerings, but all the same. I want to say the booster course pass is like $25, $30. Can you imagine the sheer, like, shall we say, dollar to course ratio? Pretty good pickup, especially when you consider a lot of people play Mario Kart, so having more tracks to begin with is pretty good. I want to say people actually warmed up to it even more, because I remember when the first booster course pass pack came out, and they brought back Coconut Mall, which everyone loved until they raced through it, and they saw it was a one-to-one recreation of Coconut Mall on tour, for better or worse. Most people would say it's for worse, because there's that last section, which when Coconut Mall was in Mario Kart Wii, the last section would have the two cars that would drive back and forth and try to block you. But in the tour version, they would just stay stationary in the center, which disappointed a lot of people, because I guess it removed part of what people remember about the track was like those two cars. So when the second pack came out, they actually updated that. So cars would now move back and forth, but they actually spice it up. So now the cars actually even like do 360 takedown and try to take you down. So people were pretty surprised by that. Said, "Oh, hey, I guess they're willing to go back and work on the older courses and perhaps make them up to more what the players expect from those sorts of tracks." I think another complaint was how like the art style was a bit of a clash in the booster course pass tracks. Right, the textures and at least when you compare them with the base game and even the original DLC Cup tracks, the textures they used were way different, which from a developmental standpoint makes sense, because they gotta at least most people, there were some people who didn't mind as much, but they actually went back, and I want to say people say they did the second didn't underpass on the textures and tried to make them in line with the base game. So at the very least, they're willing to give these tracks continuous support. I think part of me wishes that they would give you extra characters and horses, carts. But I guess for the most part, since I'm guessing the tracks are going to be the main draw anyway, so why not focus on that? Which, you know what, if it lets them focus 100% on the tracks and make them as good as it can be, then that's fine. One thing I'm really clamoring for, it's definitely going to be a while before they ever get to it, but once they do move on to the next game in the kart series, that they just turn it into Super Nintendo Kart. Just not just focus on the Mario universe, but kind of go further in the direction they already started going with the DLC and Deluxe, and start introducing characters from our Nintendo franchises. So just throwing people like Kirby and Fox, Samus, and actually Captain Falcon, and not just the racetracks. Just make it full-on Super Nintendo Kart. Actually, be pretty neat too, because then we could have tracks based on the various franchises as well, which would be pretty cool. Obviously, it won't be a very, very long time out, because they're fully focused on the booster course pass at the moment. They'll be releasing tracks for that through 2023, so definitely won't have to worry about another Nintendo Mario Kart game being announced at any point in the future. I'd say as far as kart racers go, Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, Crash Team Racing Nitro Field, and Mario Kart 8 would all occupy tops for 3 spots. The order would depend on what I'm feeling that day. I would say for the most part, I probably prefer All-Stars Racing Transformed a very, very, very tiny bit over the others. But in the end, it's comparing great and fantastic. They are all fantastic kart racing games, each in their own way. You'll definitely have a good time, no matter which of those 3 games you pick up. In fact, I was thinking like maybe like sometime in the far future, like it's like November, when Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed 10th anniversary rolls on around. I'll probably pop that and make that Wednesday race night series. Because I guess I can't be stated how much I adore All-Stars Racing Transformed. In fact, I actually booted it up like not too long ago. Kind of start setting up, see if I could perhaps find a way to, start it fresh. Because I do have my old save on there, which has a lot of completion, has a lot of characters, a lot of tracks, a lot of progress through the World Tour, their campaign. Trying to see if, at least on the PC, I could perhaps do different save files or something. But it seems like your saves are tied to your Steam profiles, so thankfully, since it's an older game, moving the save out to try to kind of force a new save, as it were, isn't too bad. I found on an old forum, like someone was asking about that. They were asking, hey, is there any way to like maybe switch files or something like that? Person replied, well, no, you can't do that, but what you can do is just like move your save to another location and have the game just create another save for you. So that's what I'll probably do once All-Stars Racing Transformed 10th anniversary comes around. When we start to look at that, I'm going to start it fresh. What? Yeah, let's buy this Mercedes-Benz AMG. It's a collection. We're almost to tier 7 of collection. Alright, so that's all the special events of the Domination Championship done. A little over halfway to wrapping up this Forza career mode. But I think that's a lot of racing. I think I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for tuning in. Guess a little bit of a programming note. I probably won't be doing any streams this weekend because I'll be off on a trip. I'll be on a break because in the U.S. Labor Day is coming up and I'm gonna be traveling with some of my friends and I'm gonna relax. So I might be back on Monday, and if I'm back early enough, I might do something then. But if not, the next time I'll be back is next week, where we'll probably just play more Forza Motorsport 7. So, anyways, have a good night. I'll see you next time.